My parents forgot my wedding date because of my sister's gender reveal. I uninvited them forever. The wedding planner's call came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was at work reviewing contracts when my phone buzzed with her name flashing across the screen. My heart did that little skip it always did when I saw anything wedding-related. After all, I'd been planning this day for 18 months. Every detail had been carefully chosen, every vendor meticulously vetted, every timeline perfected down to the minute. "Hey, Sarah," I answered, expecting to discuss the final seating chart or confirm the cake delivery time. "Hi, Emma," she said, and something in her voice made me sit up straighter. "I just got off the phone with the venue, and there's a small issue with your guest count. Your parents haven't confirmed their attendance yet, and we're 10 days out. Do you know if they're coming?" I actually laughed, not because it was funny, but because the question was so absurd that laughter was the only response my brain could produce. "Of course they're coming," I said. "They're my parents. They'll be there." But even as I said it, a cold feeling started spreading through my chest. When was the last time I'd actually talked to my mom or dad about the wedding? I pulled up my text thread with my mother. The last message was from 3 weeks ago. I'd sent her a photo of my dress after the final fitting. She'd responded with a thumbs-up emoji. And that was it. I called my mom that evening. She picked up on the 4th ring, her voice distracted. "Emma, honey, can I call you back? I'm at Jessica's house helping her plan the reveal party." Jessica, my younger sister, 25 years old, pregnant with her first child, and apparently the center of my parents' entire universe. "Mom, it's about the wedding. The venue needs to know if you and Dad are coming. It's in 10 days. There was a pause, a long, horrible pause that seemed to stretch into eternity. "The wedding is in 10 days?" my mother said slowly. My hand tightened around the phone. "Yes, Mom, June 15th. We sent the save the dates 14 months ago. The formal invitations went out 4 months ago. I've mentioned it at least a dozen times in the past month alone." "Oh, honey," she said, and I could hear her walking into another room, the sound of a door closing. "Oh, no. Emma, Jessica's gender reveal party is on June 15th. I felt like someone had dumped a bucket of ice water over my head. What? She just booked it last week. She's doing this big, elaborate thing at that garden venue in Riverside. She's having 150 people, and there's going to be fireworks that explode in blue or pink, and a photographer and a videographer, and she's so excited. Your father and I already put down the deposit to help her with the costs." My vision was literally blurring at the edges. "Mom, my wedding is on June 15th at 2 in the afternoon. I've had this date reserved for over a year." "Well, when is Jessica's party?" "I don't care when Jessica's party is." My voice came out sharper than I intended, but I was beyond controlling my tone. "Mom, this is my wedding day, the day I'm getting married, to Mark, the man I've been with for 6 years, the wedding you've known about for 18 months. "Don't take that tone with me, Emma," my mother said, her voice shifting into that defensive mode I knew so well. "You know how important this is to Jessica. This is her first baby. This is a really big moment for her." "And my wedding isn't a big moment?" "Of course it is, sweetheart, but you have to understand. Jessica is really going through something right now with the pregnancy hormones, and she's been so stressed about everything being perfect. When she found out that the only date available at this venue was June 15th, she just broke down crying. Your father and I already put down the deposit to help her with the costs." My vision was literally blurring at the edges. "Mom, so you're not coming to my wedding?" I said flatly. "Emma, don't be dramatic. Maybe we can work something out. What time is your ceremony?" 2 o'clock. "And Jessica's party is at 4, so maybe your father and I could come to your ceremony and then leave before the reception to make it to Jessica's party. Riverside is only about an hour away if there's no traffic." I actually had to sit down. My legs just gave out and I sank onto the couch. "You want to leave my wedding reception to go to Jessica's gender reveal party?" Well, we wouldn't stay for the whole reception anyway, honey. You know your father doesn't like to be out too late, and those things go on for hours. We were probably going to leave around 6 or 7 anyway. Mom, I'm your daughter. I'm getting married. This is supposed to be one of the most important days of my life, and you're telling me that you'd rather spend it at Jessica's party to find out if she's having a boy or a girl? It's not about rather, Emma. It's about family. It's about being there for your sister during this special time in her life. What about being there for me during this special time in my life? My mother sighed, that long-suffering sigh that I'd heard 1,000 times growing up, the one that said I was being difficult, that I was making things harder than they needed to be, that I was the problem. You've always been the independent one, Emma. You've went off to college 3 states away, you built your career, you bought your own house. Jessica needs more support. She needs her family right now. I went to college 3 states away because I got a full scholarship to a great school, I said, my voice shaking now. I built my career because I worked 80-hour weeks to establish myself. I bought my own house because I saved every penny for 6 years. I did all of that while Jessica was living at home rent-free until she was 23, and you and Dad paid for her car, her insurance, her credit card bills, and her trip to Europe for her graduation present. Emma, that's not fair. What's not fair is that you've forgotten my wedding because you're too busy planning Jessica's gender reveal party. There was silence on the other end of the line. Then my mother spoke, her voice cold. I think you need to calm down and think about what you're saying. You're being very selfish right now. This is a big moment for the whole family. Jessica is giving us our first grandchild. And I'm giving you a son-in-law who you claim to love. I'm starting my own family. Doesn't that matter? Of course it matters, Emma, but you have to understand that a wedding is just one day. A grandchild is forever. I felt something break inside me. Something that had probably been cracking for years finally just shattered completely. You're right, Mom, I said quietly. A wedding is just one day, so don't worry about it. Don't come. Emma, don't be like that. I'm not being like anything. I'm uninviting you. Both you and Dad. If Jessica's gender reveal party is more important than my wedding, then go to the party. Have a great time. Find out if it's a boy or a girl. Take 1,000,000 pictures. Post them all on Facebook. But don't bother showing up to my wedding because you're no longer invited. You don't mean that. I absolutely mean that. And you know what? I'm done. I'm done being the daughter who doesn't need anything. I'm done being understanding and flexible and independent while Jessica gets everything handed to her on a silver platter. I'm done competing for your attention with a gender reveal party. Emma Louise, you are being incredibly immature right now. Then I guess I'm immature. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone. Mark was next to me in an instant, pulling me into his arms. What happened? He asked gently. I told him everything. As I spoke, I watched his expression shift from confusion to disbelief to anger. They're not coming to our wedding because of a gender reveal party? He said when I finished. Apparently Jessica's feelings are more important than mine. Apparently Jessica needs them more than I do. Apparently finding out the gender of her baby is more significant than watching their other daughter get married. Mark was quiet for a moment. Then he said, You uninvited them. Yes. Good. I pulled back to look at him. Really? Emma, I've watched your parents take you for granted for 6 years. Every holiday, every family dinner, every celebration has been about Jessica. When she graduated college, they threw her a massive party and invited everyone they knew. When you graduated with your master's degree, they took us to dinner at Olive Garden. When she got her first apartment, they bought her all new furniture. When we bought our house, they gave us a $50 gift card to Home Depot. I never told you that bothered me. You didn't have to. I could see it in your face every single time. And I've watched you make excuses for them, justify their behavior, convince yourself that it's okay because you're more independent, because you don't need as much, because Jessica struggles more. But Emma, you deserve parents who show up for you. You deserve parents who remember your wedding date.
You deserve parents who wouldn't dream of missing your special day for anything short of an actual emergency." I started crying then. Not pretty crying, but the ugly, gut-wrenching kind of sobs that make your whole body shake. My phone started ringing 20 minutes later. It was my dad. I didn't answer. He called 4 more times. Then my mom called. Then Jessica called. I ignored all of them. The texts started pouring in.
From Dad. Your mother told me what happened. Call me so we can talk about this. From Mom. You're being very hurtful. We love you and want to be there for you. Call us. From Jessica. I can't believe you're doing this. You're ruining my party because you're jealous. Grow up. That last one made me laugh. Actually laugh out loud. I was ruining her party. Her party that was scheduled on the same day as my wedding. Her party that my parents were choosing over my wedding. But somehow I was the one ruining things. I blocked all 3 of them. The next few days were chaos. My grandmother called, confused about what was happening. Apparently, my mother had called her crying, painting me as this selfish bridezilla who had uninvited her own parents over a minor scheduling conflict. I told my grandmother the truth. She was silent for a long moment. Then she said, "I'll be at your wedding, sweetheart, front row, and I'm appalled at your parents." My aunt reached out, my mom's younger sister. She'd apparently heard a very different version of events from my mother, but when I explained what actually happened, she said, "I always wondered when you'd finally stand up for yourself. I'm proud of you, Emma. And yes, I'll still be there." I had to meet with the wedding planner and adjust the seating chart. 2 fewer people at the parents' table. It was surreal typing out the email to her explaining that my parents wouldn't be attending. Mark's parents were horrified when they found out. His mother called me immediately. "Emma, honey, I am so sorry. If you need anything at all, please tell us. And just so you know, I would be honored to help you get ready on the wedding day if you want. I know it's not the same as having your own mother there, but you won't be alone." I cried on the phone with her for 20 minutes. She'd always been kind to me, but this felt different. This felt like the kind of maternal support I'd been craving from my own mother. Jessica left me a long voicemail 3 days before the wedding. I listened to it once, and it was so infuriating that I had to play it for Mark. "Emma, I don't know what's gotten into you, but you need to fix this. Mom and Dad are absolutely devastated. Mom has been crying every single day. Do you know how stressful this is for me? I'm pregnant. I'm supposed to be avoiding stress, and you're creating all this family drama right now. I don't understand why you can't just be happy for me. This is my first baby. Don't you care about being an aunt? I thought you'd want to celebrate with us, but instead, you're throwing this tantrum and making everything about you. My gender reveal party is important to me, Emma. Mom and Dad want to be there for me because I actually need them. You've always been fine on your own. You don't need them standing there at your wedding. You're just being petty and jealous because for once, something isn't about you. Honestly, I think you owe us all an apology, and you need to re-invite Mom and Dad to your wedding. They raised you. They deserve to be there, even if you're going to be a brat about everything." Mark's jaw was clenched by the time it ended. "She's unbelievable." "She genuinely doesn't see the problem," I said. "She genuinely thinks I'm in the wrong here." "That's because your parents have spoiled her rotten and taught her that the world revolves around her. Emma, you made the right choice. Don't second-guess yourself." But I was second-guessing myself. Late at night, lying awake, I kept thinking about what my wedding day would look like without my parents there. My father wouldn't be walking me down the aisle. My mother wouldn't be helping me into my dress. They wouldn't be in any of the family photos. Years from now, when I looked back at my wedding album, there would be this gaping absence where they should have been. Part of me wanted to cave. Part of me wanted to call them, apologize, tell them it was fine, they could leave early for Jessica's party, whatever they wanted, anything to have them there. But then I remembered my mother's voice on the phone. "You've always been the independent one. You've never needed us the way Jessica does."
And I remembered something my therapist had told me years ago, back when I first saw her in college. I'd been talking about feeling invisible in my family, about feeling like I always came second to Jessica. She'd asked me a question that had stuck with me ever since. Do you think you became independent because that's who you naturally are, or do you think you became independent because no one was there to depend on? The morning of June 15th dawned bright and clear. Perfect weather day. I woke up in the hotel room I'd reserved, surrounded by my bridesmaids. Mark's mother arrived at 8 with breakfast and coffee for everyone. She'd also brought a beautiful silk robe for me to wear while getting ready, with bride embroidered on the back.
"I wanted you to have something special for today," she said, hugging me tight. "You're gaining a family today, Emma. We're so lucky to have you." I cried while she helped me into my dress. Not sad tears, but grateful ones. Tears for the mother figure who had stepped up when my own mother had chosen differently. My grandmother arrived as I was having my makeup done. She took one look at me and started crying too. "You look just like I did on my wedding day," she said. "Your grandfather would have been so proud of you, sweetheart. And I want you to know something. I talked to your mother yesterday. I told her she was making the biggest mistake of her life. I told her that she was choosing wrong and that one day she'd regret this more than anything." She didn't listen. But I need you to know that you are not the problem here. You deserve better than this. You have always deserved better than this. When it was time to head to the venue, my heart was pounding. This was real. This was happening. I was getting married without my parents there. Mark's father met me at the entrance to the church. He was wearing his best suit, a boutonniere pinned to his lapel, and his eyes were kind. "Emma," he said gently, "I know I'm not your father. I know I can't replace him, but it would be the honor of my life to walk you down that aisle if you'll let me." I absolutely fell apart. He held me while I cried, careful not to mess up my makeup, and when I finally pulled myself together, I took his arm. "Thank you," I whispered. "Thank you so much." The ceremony was beautiful, more than beautiful. It was perfect. As I walked down the aisle on the arm of my soon-to-be father-in-law, I looked out at the faces of the people who had shown up for me, friends who had driven hours to be there, extended family members who had made me a priority, co-workers who had taken the day off, Mark's entire family beaming at me with genuine love and support. And I realized something. Family isn't just about who shares your blood. Family is about who shows up. Family is about who remembers. Family is about who makes you a priority when it matters most. When Mark and I exchanged our vows, I wasn't thinking about who wasn't there. I was thinking about who was. I was thinking about the future we were building together, about the family we would create, about the kind of parents we would be to our own children someday. We would be the kind of parents who showed up. The reception was incredible. My grandmother danced with me for the mother-daughter dance, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Mark's mother gave a speech that was so loving and welcoming that I felt like I truly was gaining a second family. Around 7 in the evening, my phone started buzzing in my purse. I ignored it. I was too busy celebrating, dancing, laughing with my new husband and the people who actually cared about me. Later, much later, after Mark and I had left for our honeymoon suite, I finally checked my phone. There were dozens of messages. Most were from my mother. "We're at Jessica's party. It's beautiful. Wish she could be here. The fireworks were amazing. It's a boy. Jessica is so happy. This was such a special day." And then, hours later, "Just saw your wedding photos on Facebook. You looked beautiful. Sorry we couldn't be there." Sorry we couldn't be there. As if they'd had some unavoidable conflict. As if they'd been prevented by circumstances beyond their control. Not as if they had actively chosen something else. There was also a long text from Jessica. "My party was perfect. Mom and Dad were so happy. I can't believe you tried to ruin this for me with all your drama. But we had an amazing day anyway. Hope your wedding was nice." I showed the messages to Mark. He read them, his expression darkening. "Do you want to respond?" he asked. I thought about it for a long moment. Then I deleted every message without reading the rest. And I made a decision. I was done. Done explaining myself, done hoping for them to understand, done waiting for them to see me, to value me, to make me a priority. I had a new family now, a family that had proven they would show up when it mattered, and that was enough. That had to be enough. Because I finally understood something I should have understood years ago. You can't force people to value you. You can't make people prioritize you. And sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is stop trying. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from people who keep choosing to let you down, even when those people are your own parents. My wedding day was absolutely perfect. Not because everything went according to plan, but because I was surrounded by people who genuinely loved me. People who had moved heaven and earth to be there. People who would never forget my wedding date because they had marked it on their calendars the day they received the save the date and counted down the days until they could celebrate with me. And my parents? They got exactly what they chose. They got to be at Jessica's gender reveal party. They got to see blue fireworks light up the sky. They got to celebrate the grandson they'd have months to meet and hold and love. But they didn't get to see me get married. They didn't get to be part of one of the most important days of my life. They didn't get to be in the photos, the memories, the moments that I'll treasure forever. They made their choice, and I made mine. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty about putting myself first. I was finally free.